Welcome back to another amazing episode of LaQuita's Toolbox Live. I am your host, LaQuita Monley, and it is an absolutely fantastic evening and a privilege to be with you guys today on this thankful Thursday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, where I come to you live with amazing guests that share with you tools that are easily implementable that you can use to right now to have impactful change in your life, both personally and professionally. Y'all, I can't get my words out tonight. That's crazy. But it'll get better. It'll get better as the live goes on because I'm super excited to talk to my guest. Her name is Miss Pamala McCoy. Pamela with 3 A's, as she likes to say. So, y'all, listen. Get something to write with and something to write on because you do not want to miss any of the tips, tools, and strategies that Pamela is going to share with us tonight. If this is your first time joining, welcome to the Toolbox. We appreciate you. Hit that subscribe button, hit those like and share buttons, and get this broadcast out to as many people as possible. For all of our returning LaQuita's Toolbox guests, thank you. We could not do this without your prayers and support. And we love you so much. Continue again to hit those like, share, and subscribe buttons, ring those notification bells so you do not miss any of the great episodes that are being released every Thursday evening at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Listen, guys, I'm going to take a moment and have a quick break. And when we come back, we are diving into tonight's topic with Miss Pamela. You don't want to miss that. So go ahead, get something to write with and something to write on. Because you guys know that as I've said, and as my former pastor said, pencil and paper, do not forget. I'll be right back. Welcome, Miss Pamela. How are you doing this evening?
Excited and delighted to be here with you, Miss LaQuita. Oh my gosh, I cannot wait. I cannot wait.
I know. I've been excited about this conversation since October.
Yes, yes.
Well, you know what?
Our encounter at the Mick.
Right. And you know what? Technically, it was September.
Yeah,
It was September, right? It was the last day of September, that evening, that first official night of the MIC when we met. While me and my cousin, who was providing for videography services for me, y'all want to make sure
yeah.
y'all check out Amp Productions on Instagram. Go ahead and drop that tag for her right there. But we had a great time. You and another group of ladies, and I was just like, all of these ladies have to come on the show because y'all got a lot to share.
Yes. Well, I thank you for the invite. And as I said, I'm excited and delighted to be here to share your platform, to share your audience, and just mix it up with you, me, and him. Right?
Right. So listen, today we're going to talk about the importance of fueling your potential or how
Mhm.
to fuel your potential. But before we dive into that conversation, because I know that's a lot to unpack right there, even in just the title, like what is the meaning of that? But before we do that, please share with the Toolbox audience more about who you are and what you do.
All righty. Well, a little bit about me. I actually have two businesses. My first business I started back in 2008 while I was still actually full time in corporate America. I was vice president of collections, recovery, fraud, and probate I had under my purview at a national bank. And that was BONA5D, spelled a little different, spelled BONA, the number 5D. Credit Consultants LLC. And on that side of the business, we focused on financial capability education and personal money management. I call that the money side. And then fast forward to June of 2020, I got an assignment from the big guy. And I've always kind of done a little bit of the mind side, right? Self-esteem, because they're not mutually exclusive. But June of
Mhm.
2020, I got this assignment to pull self-esteem out and have it stand alone. And so B5 Reaffirm was birthed. And so I say now I do your mind and your money, which both are fundamental in your overall well-being. And so that's what we do.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. I know as I was looking and doing some research and learning more about you and more about Bonafide, I came across a quote that you said, and I believe at you were actually speaking to a group at this time when you asked them a really profound question. And I'll
Mhm.
paraphrase it because I can't remember it verbatim, but you asked them a
Okay.
question to the effect that, you know, we are it was about your money mindset or your spending habits or how people handle money having a direct impact on their physical health. And when I
Mhm.
saw that, when I read that, I was like, wow, okay. I get, your a money mindset and our emotional health and, mental well-being being connected. But talk to us a little bit about how you were able to draw that connection between someone being fiscally responsible as well as the fiscally responsible person tends to have better physical health.
Right, because really, I think you're referring to a workshop that I actually did call your fiscal. Did you know your fiscal, meaning your money, and your physical, meaning your body, that they're actually correlated, right?
Right.
And people don't often make that correlation that when your money's not right, it shows up in different ways and different aspects physically, right? So people that have, the ulcers and all kinds of health issues, stress, and stress shows up in your body in different ways for different people, whether it's headaches, whether it's eating disorders, whether all these kind of physical things that we have. I like to say that when you peel back the onion in any life circumstance or situation, there's going to be a dollar sign at the bottom of each and every one of them. So whether it's a
Mm,
relationship that's gone awry,
mm,
whatever kind of
mm.
relationship, whether it's a romantic relationship or a friendship relationship, or it might even be a professional relationship. When you peel back the onion, there's going to be a dollar sign at the bottom of that, right? Because
Oh,
our finances are fundamental in everything,
mhm.
meaning it's foundational, right? And so we really need to take the time and pause and get our money right? So that we can
Right.
build upon that firm foundation for everything else, which is so true also of our mental state and our mental well being, our emotional well being, right? So that's why we practice mind and money. They're not mutually exclusive, they're actually intertwined more than we ever could imagine.
So now let me ask you this. Just I guess taking that in a little bit deeper, or not a little bit deeper, a little bit more clarity. Because our mind and our money and our physical well-being are so intertwined.
Mm-hmm.
And even it, I remember continuing to read that does not even that's not just for people who are fiscally irresponsible.
Mm-hmm.
That correlation or the way that works even works with wealthy people.
Oh,
They as
absolutely.
I read on, you continue to talk about that, right? Like, and you
Mm-hmm.
gave some really great statement, and it's so very true. We can see in the media how wealthy people, just because you're wealthy or fiscally responsible, um, on the outside does not mean that your physical or emotional well-being is intact. Can you explain a little bit more about that? Because that what I want to do is being able to reach a little bit of everyone who's viewing today's
Mm-hmm.
conversation about how those things work together, good and bad, for rich or for
Right.
poor. Yeah.
It is, if you think about, and you probably have heard people say, money can't buy you love, right?
Mhm.
Um, Money can't buy you a good night's rest,
Right.
right? And
Right.
that's to say, it doesn't matter. You can have all the money in the world and be unhappy,
Mm.
right?
Mhm.
You could have all the money in the world and still be devastated by life when it's lifing,
Yeah.
right? You could
Yes.
have all the money in the world And when you cut the rich person and you cut the poorest person, how about they're both going to bleed red blood,
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
Meaning when it
Absolutely.
gets down to the whole, when you're talking about self-esteem, which is where we focus and start again foundationally with your
Mhm,
well-being, your mental well-being starts with self-esteem,
mhm.
right? Self-esteem is ageless. It doesn't care how old you are, doesn't care where you live, doesn't care what kind of car
Right.
you drive, it doesn't care what kind of clothes you wear, doesn't care who your mama is, your daddy is, where your beginnings were, where you are right now, doesn't care about your job title, it doesn't care how much money you have in the bank. It is called self-esteem for a reason. It is about self, right?
Mm.
And self comes in a lot of different packages, and self lives a lot of different places, under bridges and in mansions. That's
Oh
where
my God.
self lives, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And
Right.
so we need to dispel all of that when you're talking about self-esteem, right? And so I've done my programming with people in their teens and tweens, and what
Mhm.
I like to call my sassy seniors in their 70s and beyond, right? I've done my programming with folks that live in the projects, Section 8, and under the bridge, as well as people that are in these 6, 7, 8 figures in
Mhm.
terms of salaries and living in
Mhm.
mansions and driving all these fancy cars and CEOs of Fortune 500 companies and all of that. Why? Because none of those material things really matter.
Mm.
You are who
That's
you
good.
are.
That's
And
good.
a friend of mine wrote a book, and the title and it's all kind of mixed in there together. No matter how far you run, no matter how fast you run, every time you turn around, you are going to be right there.
Right there.
So how
We
about we
cannot
take
leave
the
ourselves.
time, we
Mm.
take the time, we pause, take the time and figure out how to love you. Because
Oh,
wherever you go, you're going to be
yeah.
right there.
You're gonna be right there.
So we got to figure this out, right? No matter how much money you make, because some people just think, if I just had a different family, if I just grew up different, if I just
Mm.
made more money,
Mm.
if I just, then
Mhm.
things would be so different and better. Well, if at the core of things you don't love you, having all those material things or changing your environment isn't going to change anything, because what did I just say? You're going to be right there. You're still
We're
going to
right
be
there
you. And
wherever
if you
you
didn't
go.
like you with $5, having $5 million isn't going to miraculously make you like you.
Oh
And
my.
on the flip side of
My.
that, what we do on the bona fide side, if you can't
Mhm.
manage $5, because I always say it's not about the zero. And what I
Mhm.
mean by that is, if you can't manage $5, making it 50 doesn't make you manage it better. Making it 500 doesn't make you manage it better. Making it 5,000 doesn't make you manage it better. Making it 5 million doesn't make you manage it better. So how
Come
about
on
we
now.
just focus on managing and teaching
Yes.
you and giving you skills and the tools to manage
Yes.
$5. The zeros will take care of itself. We got to get the
Take care of it.
foundation built. So then whatever you build upon a firm foundation can stand,
Mhm. Come on
right?
now.
And
You
and
done you
so,
you done
and
preach
that's
right there.
life, that's biblical, that's everything, right?
That's everything. Right.
Everything.
Right.
It's all about the
We
foundation. If the foundation isn't stable, anything built on sand, what it say in the word? What it say in the word about sinking sand, right?
come on now.
What do they It's got to be a
Come
solid
on.
foundation. Anything
Solid
built on
foundation.
less than a solid
You can't
foundation
build
will
upon
not
sand.
stand, cannot stand,
Yeah.
right? So
Cannot be washed away.
it's all about the foundation. Yeah.
Absolutely. Listen, we haven't even been in this conversation 10 minutes, and I promise you probably dropped about 12 gems. Probably about maybe
I like
more
to
than
the
that. I
bona
stopped
fide
counting.
bits. Yep, the bona fide bits, I like to call them.
That's an amazing introduction. Like that's an amazing introduction. Listen, if you're just joining us now, welcome to LaQuita's Toolbox Live on this amazingly thankful Thursday. I am here with my wonderful guest, Miss Pamela McCoy, and that's Pamela with 3 A's. When I saw that, I was too tickled. Like but it is Pamela with 3 A's, and she is dropping some amazing gems, you guys. So far in this short time that we've been on here, we've talked about the importance of self-esteem. We've talked about the importance of money management. No, we've talked about the connection, the correlation between our money, our mental health, as well as our physical health. I mean, and those are not three small topics. Like that's a lot in this short period of time. So if you're just joining us, don't worry. It's the podcast. Hit the rewind button and you can go back and catch the bits that you missed. But if you've been with us from the beginning, thank you, thank you, thank you. Hit those like, share, and subscribe buttons. Get this broadcast out to as many people as possible. And we will continue this great conversation with Miss Pamela after this short commercial break.
Business, career, and mindset to the next level? Then it's time to join the conversation on LaQuita's Toolbox. Whether you're an entrepreneur, leader, or someone just looking to level up, this show is packed with powerful insights and real strategies to help you succeed. Imagine yourself here, sharing your story, your expertise, and making a real impact with an audience ready to grow and thrive. With LaQuita's Toolbox, you'll be inspired, empowered, and part of an incredible community that's all about winning. This is your moment. Don't miss the opportunity to be a guest on LaQuita's Toolbox. Unlock new doors, connect with like-minded professionals, and elevate your brand to new heights. Ready to make your mark? Head over to www.laquitamonley.com, LaQuita's Toolbox, and sign up to be a guest today.
All right. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Listen, if you're just joining us, welcome to the live. I'm your host, LaQuita Monley, and I'm joined this evening by none other than the amazing Miss Pamela McCoy. And we're talking about the importance of fueling your potential. And as we get in more in depth into that conversation, I want you guys to make sure that you have something to write with and something to write on so that you can get these great notes. And if you're not already subscribed, hit that subscribe button, ring those notification bells so you do not miss any episodes that we release on Thursday evenings at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. But Miss Pamela, listen, you share some stuff. You share some stuff like you share some stuff right there. And y'all listen, we are on topic. You might be saying, what this got to do with fueling my potential? I tell you what, if you don't have the money in order to get to the goals that you're trying to get to, you're going to have a hard time fueling your potential. I'm going to just put that right there. If you don't have the right mindset, because Pamela has talked about the importance of mindset. You know, that's a foundation. Understanding who you are, the thing that you've been called to do, addressing your character. She didn't say it like that, but that's what she said. That is what she said because you are you, and you go everywhere you go. And if you have not
Absolutely.
taken the time, yes, and if we have not taken the time to address our character flaws or to address some shortcomings that we have. I say that and I don't want to be in a negative way because nobody was born perfect. We all have weaknesses, but we can strengthen them, but we can't strengthen them if we deny they exist. So we have to get to a place where we can be truthful with ourselves, be open with ourselves that these things exist, and then seek out the people, the resources, the tools necessary to help us tighten up in them areas. Y'all, I'm from the South, so I might use some few words that you might not understand what I mean when I say tighten up. That mean get right. That mean get right. Like I was reading a part of your story and I was so tickled. The first part of your story, I was so tickled because I was like, that's my grandmama house. That's what and it's so it's so important to what we're saying here, fueling your potential, because from the very beginning, your parents were fueling your potential with the wisdom that they were using. And I love the fact how you said that they didn't just necessarily sit y'all down and say, okay, Sunday after church, after dinner, we're going to get out the clipboards and me and mom going to teach y'all a lesson on this, and this. But it was more like understood things that were going to happen in your household. And as you got older, you begin to appreciate those things and realize, okay, learning that discipline helps set me up for the disciplines that I have. And even for you, what you ended up doing in corporate America for a living as a part of your as your occupation. And I think all of us can look back at that in some way and say, okay, how was my potential being fueled even when I didn't know that it was being fueled? Can we talk about that a little bit? I know you got a lot to say about it.
I got a lot to say about that. I mean, in so many different perspectives, um, from faith being,
Mhm,
again, for me, foundational for me, that was, that seed was planted early on.
mhm,
Um, and my father, quote that when I'm doing a financial workshop, I often use or start with a quote that my father used to say. And, growing up, like, you didn't understand, you didn't know, but like he said it all the time. So you knew it must be important because he said it so often. Right. And so I typically will start a workshop with his quote. And then at the end of the workshop, see if anyone can tell me what the quote means. And that quote is, my dad used to say, credit cards should be used to buy time and not money.
mm,
Right.
mama.
And so I let people marinate on that, and then I go through my workshop, and then at the end, I usually give a prize if someone can tell me if they figured out what that quote actually means. But that was a quote from my father, and my
Oh, I,
dad right now still alive. He ain't kicking high. My dad is 91 years old.
all
Um,
right. Praise God.
and my dad is a military guy. He did 28 years in the Air Force. And so he didn't do the college path, or whatever, but he got his degrees through the college, through
Mhm,
going through the military. But I always say my dad's innate gift was money management, right?
mm,
And I would put my
mm,
dad's ability to manage money against any CFO. We used to
yeah.
jokingly say that my dad could squeeze the buffalo off a nickel. That's when I tell you he could manage money. I mean, he put 4 kids through college. He was enlisted. He wasn't even an officer in the military. He was
Right.
enlisted and he went up through the ranks or whatever. But 4 kids through college,
That made
all
me
of that.
smile
We
all
never
together right there.
needed
Because that was way
anything.
before post 9/11 GI Bill. Imma just lay
Exactly.
that out. That was way before
Exactly.
9/11 GI Bill.
Exactly. That part.
Yes.
And so he just knew how to manage money. We never needed anything and wanted for very little, right?
Mm,
Because of his ability to manage the money that he was making. And
yes.
I can remember my dad, was telling us about the first car he and my mom bought, and how he had that allotment coming out of his check to make the car payment. And then when the
Mhm,
car was paid for, he never stopped the allotment. He just redirected that money to go into savings,
mhm.
right?
Yeah.
And all of
That's
that.
good.
And I remember him saying that, right, when I was young. But then how about my first car that I bought? The same methodology. I had that payment coming out of my check to go make my car payment. When the car was paid for, I redirected that money to go to investments, right?
Yes.
Because
Yes.
savings was what I had then, but now different time and age, right? We had
Right.
investments, right? So just those little bitty tools and things that my father taught me. And then when I look back, I said the irony is that I have a business and what I do is teach people how to manage their money.
Mm.
Full
Full
circle,
circle.
right?
Full circle.
Um, or what have you. But who knew? Um, And then when we talk about my B5 Reaffirm division of my
Mhm.
company, where we talk about self esteem, God is
Yes.
always
Well, put
orchestrating.
that
He's
self-esteem in a box tonight too.
always orchestrating. You just have to be a student, willing
Yes.
to learn, right? Willing to be obedient. Obedient, right? There's a whole story about that too, about when he gives you my assignment. Remember, I said early on that B5
Mhm.
Reaffirm is my assignment, right?
Assignment,
And
yes.
and an assignment, like you go even though you don't know, right? You can't
Mm.
see
Yeah.
all that there is to see, but you go anyway. That's that step of faith, right?
Yes. Yes.
Um, and so who starts a business amidst a pandemic? Because 2020, we were in the midst of a
In the
pandemic,
middle
right?
of
I started a new division of my company in the middle of a pandemic. Who does that? It's an assignment. I don't understand. I'm just doing because you told me to do. I'm just going because you
Mm.
told me to go, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And
Yeah, yeah.
with that assignment came enough 1 million females I've got to introduce to the principles of that division. 1
Wow.
million. I don't know.
Wow.
I don't know. y'all
You
have
didn't
to
say
understand
100. I want you to say it real loud.
million, 1
1
million,
million. That's a lot of
right?
zeros.
That's a lot of zeros, but I don't got to focus on that. I got to focus on the assignment. He's going to handle the math part, right?
Yeah.
Because even already, even though I just launched in 2020, June of 2020, the numbers that I can count, I'm well over 4,500 already. But that
Come
number is
on.
exponential because I've done television, I've done radio, and I've done podcasts. I don't really know what the number is, actual number, right?
Right.
But the number that I can actually count is over 4,500. And I just
Wow.
launched it in June of 2020, right?
Wow.
And I know I'll hit the number because he's doing the math and
He's
it's
doing
an
the math.
assignment,
He
right? So I
multiplied.
just got to be available and keep doing what I do, right?
Yes.
The very first beta group that I did in this assignment, it saved the life of someone who was in the group.
Mm.
That's how important the assignment is, right? So that's how I knew it's bigger than me. It's bigger than all of this. So can you imagine when I hear how many lives will have been saved, right?
Yes.
By
Wow.
me adhering to my assignment, because that's where the power came for me when I realized me accepting my assignment. Someone is still walking on this earth, breathing air because
Mm.
I accepted my assignment.
Oh
That blew me
my.
away. That
Yeah.
blew me away,
Yeah.
right? There's so much power for me. Like I could not, it just blew my mind. So for anyone listening out there, that's a nugget that's a bona fide bit right there. And I ain't even gonna charge you for that. When you get an assignment, you got to accept the assignment because assignments are never for you. They are always for and about somebody else.
About someone else. Absolutely. They're always about.
Somebody is walking this earth because I accepted an assignment. Who knew?
Mm.
I didn't know, but he knew when he gave me the assignment because it wasn't for me to know. It was for me to just accept the assignment blindly, knowing
Mm.
that there was
Mm.
purpose in the assignment. That's why he gave it to me,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So
Oh my.
I
Oh my.
digress because the question was about how things in the past lead to your assignment and what you're doing,
It's
right?
it's use your
Um,
potential. But
but
when you
but
accept the
fueling my
assignment,
potential.
yeah.
Another scenario that fueled this same B5 potential that I had no clue. My freshman year in college, home
Hmm.
on Christmas break, Christmas is over, going
Yes.
back to college on a
Yes.
Sunday, on a
Yes.
Sunday
On a
before
Sunday
noon,
with your
before noon.
Corolla.
My little Toyota Corolla, 4-door,
Yes.
right? Packed it up, had a good Christmas. On my way back to college, I was less than 5 miles from my parents' home, and in a split second, my life changed forever.
Wow.
I got hit head on by a drunk driver on a Sunday before noon.
Mm.
Long
Mm.
story short, stay tuned because it's going to be in my fourth or fifth book. So I've got 3 books down already. I'm working on 2 kind of simultaneously while I'm doing other things.
Wait.
But
Yeah.
um,
We're gonna talk about them. We're gonna talk about them.
but
We're gonna talk
yeah,
about 'em. Yeah.
that accident, which was horrific, it left me with a scar down the center of my face
Mm.
and a journey. But that journey led me, or I say now, that journey that I went on
Hmm.
had to be for B5 Reaffirmed to have been birthed in
Wow.
June of
Yeah.
2020, all those years later,
Mm.
right? Hindsight. Because when I was in it, like you don't have a clue because you're like, Jesus, why me? And why down the center of my face? And, why couldn't I have had a scar somewhere else that was easily covered up? And all of those
Mm.
kind of questions that I
Mm.
had, right?
Yes.
But
Yes.
in
Yes. Yes.
hindsight, I clearly understood because he's always orchestrating. We don't know. We don't
Hmm.
understand when we're in it. But there's
Right.
method to his madness, always method to his
Always.
madness, right?
Always.
Um, that had to be for B5 Reaffirmed to be birthed in June of 2020 because I can speak to all kinds of things related to self-esteem firsthand, first person, not telling you
Mm.
what I heard. I can tell you what I know about
Mm.
self-esteem, right? Um,
That
so yeah.
that incident with you being in college at such a young age,
Mm-hmm.
that had to I don't want to say that had to be hard because that's an understatement. That's like the understatement of the year. But it had to have a major impact on your self-esteem. And
It did.
you being able to, like you said, hindsight is always 2020. Being able to go back and look at that particular season of your life, the accident, the recovery process, the healing process, physically and emotionally, spiritually, to be able to come to the place where God says, now, okay, let's birth out B5 Reaffirm. And then one of your success stories in the B5 Reaffirm is your collaboration with the Girl Scouts, with a
Mm-hmm.
bunch of young ladies that were that age or younger, and being able to, and them requesting, not you saying, hey, take my curriculum, but them say, oh yeah, we need a curriculum because these girls going to get a badge. Talk about that. I mean, you already talking about it, but
Yeah, that,
right.
when you talk about like a moment
Yeah.
and being profound, because I was a brownie and I was a Girl Scout myself many, many moons ago, right? So again, another full circle kind of moment, but just giving God glory, because it's like, oh my gosh, the Girl Scouts have been around for forever,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so they don't partner with just anyone because they have this reputation, right?
Right.
And so to say we want to partner with you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just a solopreneur, like I'm not this big corporation or anything, right? I'm just
Right.
me. I'm just me.
You're the fearfully and
On my
wonderfully made you.
assignment, on my assignment,
Mm.
right? Um, and yeah, the logo that you see on the box, that logo was converted to a patch, and I created a specific program just for the Girl Scouts, and the Girl Scouts complete the task, and they literally earned. It was a limited edition, a limited time for the
Mhm.
girls. So it's not even available at this point in time
Mhm.
for the girls. So we might bring it back, but it was for a limited period of time. The Girl Scouts would complete the task and actually earn their B5 patch to go on their sash.
Wow.
And it wasn't just local for Hillsborough County, it was across the Girl Scouts USA.
Wow.
Um,
Come on.
and
That's
for me, that was a moment, right?
wow.
That little me, but that's what my God can do. That's what my Jesus can do. All things
Yes.
he can do,
All
right?
things. Come on.
Um,
All things.
and it was an amazing moment, an amazing opportunity to be able to do that. Um, and the task that the girls had to do to earn it, right,
Mhm.
was all around building their self-esteem, their self-worth,
Mm.
getting to see their value, their own worth,
Mhm.
right? Which are some
Mhm.
of the core components of what Girl Scouts is all about,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Um, and to be able to come alongside of this huge organization that's been around for forever,
Mm.
and just reiterating their same mission and values and purpose for these young girls or whatever.
Mhm.
It's hard to find words on what that means, and what that means and will always mean for me to be a part of that, right?
Right.
And each time I
Right.
look at B5, and I know some people are probably curious as to what is B5, what are the 5 B's. So I'm going to share with them the B5. The 5 B's are that I'm a bona fide boss with brains, beauty, and a believer in me. And the
Come on.
operative word is that they believe in me, that they believe in themselves. And as I
Mm.
like to say, it's great when you have a cheerleading squad, others that believe in you, but
Mhm.
at the end of the day, none of that matters. What matters most is that you believe in yourself, right?
Come on now.
Um,
Come on now.
and so I need these 1 million females that I need to introduce this principle to, that they know that they know that they know with every fiber in their being that they are, in
Yeah.
fact, a B5. That
Come
means that
on.
no matter what other people, whatever the world and all of that clutter and that they're saying, let them
Mhm.
have their say. But
Yes.
in your spirit that you're a B5. That
Be
drowns out all of that negative talk. And even it's so powerful that it will drown out the negative self talk
Come
that
on.
happens
Come on. Yeah,
because it's
yeah.
so ingrained in us that it's so quick and easy for us to negatively speak of and to ourselves, right? We got to
Mhm.
drown out that inner negative talk
Yes.
as well.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
yeah, that's my mission to get. I need 1 million females saying it loud and proud that I am a B5 and
And I
that
am a
they know
B5. Come on now,
that
listen.
I am a B5.
We're
Yes.
going LaQuita's Toolbox audience, we're gonna help spread this message because every woman that you know needs to be saying that song.
That's
Young,
it.
old, middle age. We just got here yesterday. Every woman should know that they are definitely bona fide. And we got to take a quick break, but when we come back, I want you to reiterate what it means to be bona fide. And then I also want you to talk about the I'm me statement. We
All
got to
right.
talk. We got to talk about that. Listen, guys, stay tuned. Don't go nowhere. Get something else to write with and write on, because I know you done used up all the little paper you got right now, because Miss Pamela been dropping some amazing gems. But we will be right back after this short commercial break.
Are you ready to take your business, career, and mindset to the next level? Then it's time to join the conversation on LaQuita's Toolbox. Whether you're an entrepreneur, leader, or someone just looking to level up, this show is packed with powerful insights and real strategies to help you succeed. Imagine yourself here, sharing your story, your expertise, and making a real impact with an audience ready to grow and thrive. With LaQuita's Toolbox, you'll be inspired, empowered, and part of an incredible community that's all about winning. This is your moment. Don't miss the opportunity to be a guest on LaQuita's Toolbox. Unlock new doors, connect with like-minded professionals, and elevate your brand to new heights. Ready to make your mark? Head over to www.laquitamonley.com, LaQuita's Toolbox, and sign up to be a guest today.
Welcome back to LaQuita's Toolbox Live. I'm your host, LaQuita Monley, and we have been having a great time with our guest today, none other than the fantastically fabulous Miss Pamela McCoy. And she has been dropping some gems, y'all. If you don't know about Bonafide, you will know about Bonafide by the time we finish this conversation today, because every woman in your life needs to know about Bonafide. I don't care if she's 5 minutes old, 5 years old, 50 years old, in your mind tapping on 500. She needs to know about Bonafide. She needs to know about Bonafide and the I'm me statements. Listen, Miss Pamela, thank you so much for being with us tonight. I want you to take just a few moments right here before we continue the conversation. Let the LaQuita's Toolbox audience know how to connect with you. Where can they find you and how can they connect with you?
All righty. Well, as you said before, I am Pamela McCoy, aka Pamela with 3 A's. And that's
Yeah.
significant and important because that is my website, and that's how you can find me at PamelaMcCoy.com. And as I like to say, if you put an E, then it's not me. So PamelaMcCoy.com, you can find all of my contact information, my email, my cell phone, all of that. I would love to connect with you. I'd love to put together a tailor made, customized workshop for you, your organization. All I need is at least 10 of you together, right? And we can do mind or money, mind and money, whatever we need to do to shifting mindset is what we're really all about, to get you on the right track, to build a firm foundation for the gathering or the participants. I'd love to do that for you, with you. So please reach out. PamelaMcCoy.com. Love to hear from you.
Awesome. Pamela with 3 A's. Three
One,
A's.
three,
That's
eight.
significant. Remember that. Don't forget it. It's okay. Look in the show notes. If you forget or you're hesitant, her contact information will be in the show notes. Those of you that are following us on YouTube, it will also be in, I will drop them in the comment section. We do have a few people that comments here coming from YouTube, as a matter of fact. Ms. Stephanie Legan says that it's an awesome moment of time that you were sharing about your experience with the Girl Scouts. And she says, awesome mission, changing self image to B5 is priceless. It's a
Yes, thank
principle.
you.
It is
Thank you so
definitely a
much.
principle. And I couldn't agree more. I could not agree more with Stephanie. But now look. that I'm me statement. So I saw the I'm me and I was like, oh yeah, because I'm me. And then I saw what the I'm me stands for. So I'm not gonna spoil it. I'm not gonna spoil it because I need you to tell it. But it's real good, y'all. Y'all don't want to miss it. It's real good.
Well, those of you who know me and those of you who are going to get to know me because y'all are going to reach out, we're going to do a workshop together. You'll find that
Absolutely.
I like to do acronyms. Acronyms help people remember things, right? So I do acronyms, I do analogies, and I like to tell stories because that helps people to remember. And so I Me is the journey that we take our participants on as we're doing the B5 workshops, right? I Me is that emphatic statement that I'm me, because I need you to clearly understand that that's all you'll ever be is I'm me. I can't be you. You can't be me. So we need to focus all of our time, effort, and energy on being the best version of ourselves, right? Don't spend any time trying to be like someone else. Let's just be
Mm,
the best you that you can be, right?
yeah.
But I Me is also an acronym, and that acronym stands for Improve My Mental Esteem. That's the journey that we're on. And I intentionally say journey because we never arrive. It's not a destination. We're not going to ever arrive. Every
Mm,
day, we're working on ourselves. Every
yeah.
day, we're working on being a better version of ourselves, right? It's not a destination. We're not going to ever arrive. And I think, LaQuita had said earlier, right? No one is perfect. None of us are perfect. We're each perfectly imperfect, right?
Mm,
And so that's why we have to work on ourselves every day.
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
why we have to work on ourselves every day to be a better version of ourselves, right? And so that's what I'm Me is really all about, right? I'm me. I'm me.
I
And
love
how about you're enough? You are enough.
yeah. Yes. I'm me. I'm enough. And I love that you said that I'm perfectly imperfect.
Mhm,
I because we are.
mhm.
Just as we are, the Lord loves us. You're fearfully and wonderfully made. He created
That's it.
us in his likeness and his image. It doesn't get better than that. He breathed the breath of life into us and we became a living soul. It doesn't get better than that. Yes, are there areas that we need to improve upon just in this natural human existence? Everybody. That's why I'm perfectly imperfect. There's no
That's it.
perfect person, not one. So that shouldn't be an area that we stress ourselves out on. Being the best version of me, however, that shouldn't even be a stress. That should be a joyful journey.
Mm-hmm.
Becoming
Yeah,
the
but I
best
talk
version.
about in one of my books on page 40 of one of my books, my first book, it's talking about manifestation, right?
Mm,
And
mm,
and when you've heard me say several times about mindset and mind shift. Both
yes.
of my companies, that's what we focus on, mindset shifting. And oftentimes that mindset requires mind shift. And so I'm going to read
Yeah.
page 40 really quickly. It
Go ahead.
says,
Go ahead.
what you think, you manifest. So a man thinketh, he is, does,
Mhm.
thus you become what you think about most.
Come on.
Plow with your eye on the post. Like Paul, if we focus on Christ, we will plow a straight path and accomplish God's purpose in our lives. So in this book, what it does, they give little pithies, and then it'll give you a life application and then a financial application. So that was a little
Mhm.
pithy. So the life application is your thoughts are the guiding force of everything in your life. That said, you must guard your thoughts. Imagine your life with putting him first in your thoughts. If you
Mhm.
do know yourself, give it a try. I
Mhm.
know you'll be amazed. The financial application of that is if you focus your thoughts on your financial freedom and put in the work, becoming financially free is within your reach. You must speak it into existence. You must believe it. You must take action. Financial freedom will be yours. And remember, you can be prepared for something while secretly believing it will not happen, right? You can't. You got
You
to
can't.
believe it. You got to speak
Mhm.
it into existence. You got to
Mhm.
manifest it, right? As you think it, as a man thinketh. It all starts here. It all
Mm,
starts here. That's why we got
mm.
to shift your mindset if we want change. Because once we shift your mindset, everything else has to follow.
My mind.
Everything.
My. Listen, if you're wondering where she got that from, let me help you. Ta-da! You want to make sure you get this book. You want to make sure you get this book. It's amazing. I'm gonna read that first one again because somebody might have said you went by that real fast. I wasn't ready.
Okay.
Okay, now you got time to be ready. I'm gonna read that first part again. I'm gonna read the first part again. What you think you manifest. So a man thinketh, he is, does. Thus, you become what you think about most. Plow with your eye on the fence post, like Paul. If we focus on Christ, we will plow a straight path and accomplish God's purpose in our lives. Amen. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. What are you thinking about? We hear this. Well, everybody might not, but you should. If you ain't hearing this on a regular, you might want to change church homes. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. How can we have, and whether we believe in decreeing or declaring, or whether you believe in praying the promises of God, you're doing all of these things. But if you don't believe it, then what are we doing? And I believe that's what Pamela is saying. If you don't believe in the words that you're speaking, if you don't believe in the ideas that you have, the visions that you have, if you don't even believe God gonna show up and do it for you, then why are you praying? If you don't believe, you definitely won't start doing things to help you move forward in the direction that you want to be to accomplish that goal. It starts within. The first person or the first thing that we have to work on is us. And it starts right here in our mind. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. What do you think about yourself? What do you think about the vision that God is giving you? Do you even believe it's a vision that God gave you? Or did you think that you just came up with that by yourself because you're wonderful? I mean, you are wonderful. But if he know the hairs on my head and he know the thoughts that I think and tells me that there need to be thoughts of good and not of evil, to something that's going to give me an expected end, apparently it's saying put some application to that. Believe it in your heart. And when you believe it in your heart, then we'll begin to be able to do the things necessary to walk it out in the natural, the manifesting part, right? Look, I'm going to show you this book again. Bonafide Bits by Pamala McCoy. You want to get that. Bonafide Bits. The links are on her website. Go out and get it. Get it directly from her. We love Amazon. I got some stuff on Amazon, but get it from the author. You never know. You might get a signed copy or something. Get a little blessing on the inside. Get it straight from the author. Be a blessing. Amen. Be a blessing. Listen, Miss Pamela, time always runs fast when you're having fun. And
Right.
I want I want to make sure I honor your time on tonight. But listen, woman of God, I definitely appreciate you for coming. And but before you go, because we're not through talking, I just gotta this. I'm like the pastor, this is my first close. I gotta let myself know we got to close for real here in a minute. But listen, that's a powerful piece right there from Bonafide Bites. Talk about that a little bit more, um, just in case somebody missed it. I know that they ain't miss it, but just in case they did, talk about that a
About
little
what
bit
part?
more. From page
About which
40,
part?
because you can preach from there.
Well, I'm all about, you know, speaking what it is that you want, putting it out in the universe. Our words matter, right? And so that's why I talk about positive self-talk as opposed and replacing all this negative self-talk. And we're so bombarded with the negative. When I'm doing a workshop, if I ask the participants to tell me something that they don't like about themselves, just like
Mhm,
that, they can spit it off like wildfire. But if I then in turn say, tell me something positive about you,
mhm,
it's like crickets. There's a pause. They got to think about it. That's in lies the problem because there's a million and one good things about each and every person.
mhm,
Even the worst person you can think of, there's something good about that person. And there's
mhm,
always that pause. And that is because we are so bombarded with negativity as it relates to self, things that other people have said, and then the things that we've internalized negative about ourselves. And so that's why it's so quick and front of mind that we can
Mhm.
think of something negative to say about ourselves, and we got to pause and think of something good. In our mind, we think, oh, partly you're debating, is it conceited? Should I say something good about me? All of that's going on in our head. Could I, should I, what I, all of that versus just boom. I'm smart. I'm beautiful. I'm grateful. I am, all of these positive things you can say, but there's
Right.
hesitation, and there should be no hesitation because there's a million and one. And when I say a million and one, that means infinite, right?
Mm.
Good things, positive things that one could say about self. And that's why we got to shift. We got to change that, shifting and replacing the negative self talk with
Mhm.
positive self talk. And it's a
Mhm.
process. So, what I teach is you've got to, it's a work in progress, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, when you say that negative thing, we pause and restate,
Mm.
right? It's like you got to exercise that muscle. And the more
Mm.
you do it, the easier it becomes. So that's
Yeah.
why it's called B5. And if you see how I spell it, it's capital R, little e, capital A, and then affirm, right?
Mm.
Because you affirm and you reaffirm,
Mm.
right?
Okay.
That's why it's
Okay.
B5, reaffirm, because we're going to affirm and we're going to
Mhm.
reaffirm. And we're wash and re-rinse, because you got to keep doing it, right? Until it becomes a habit. The more
Yes.
you affirm, then it becomes second nature. It
Yes.
becomes second nature, right? If you remember when you were a toddler, brushing your teeth, your mommy had to tell you, brush your teeth before you go to bed, right? Brush your teeth, brush your teeth. They had to keep
Mhm.
telling you. But now you're an adult. You don't even think about it in the morning. Like you just get up and you brush it. Like it's not even a thought. You don't even really feel yourself thinking about it.
You
You
just
just
do
do
it.
it,
Yeah.
right? You just do it. You just get up, you brush your teeth, you go on with your day. That's
Mhm.
how second nature affirming yourself needs to be,
Wow.
right?
Yeah.
When you look in the
Yeah.
mirror, you say, you're beautiful, you're smart, you got this, you can do
Yeah.
this. Like that, those words just start rolling off your mouth as quickly as you say, you know what, you're fat. Oh, you're so dumb. You made, golly, you're so stupid. Like I can't believe you did. Like we're so quick to say those things, right?
Mm.
To
Yeah.
ourselves. Other people are saying it, true enough.
Mhm.
You've got plenty of people who can say bad things, negative things about you. But how
Mhm.
about you're so quick to say the same positive, negative things about yourself if you don't catch yourself,
If you don't
right?
catch it, yeah. That words matter.
So, how about we start pausing when you catch yourself and say, pause, restate, right? Because you can always, and in the workbook, we've got how we can restate some of those negative things, right? Like
Right.
instead of saying, I can't pass that test. I studied well enough to pass the test, right? And you may not
Mm.
pass it, but not because you didn't study. If you studied like you should, you
Then
may
you
or may not pass. But if you did your best,
yeah.
then you could have not done any better. But if you
Yes.
did not do your best, then you got what you deserve. My father taught me
Yeah.
that because I used to have to
Come on.
instruct, like, oh my gosh, you get out of your test and you're looking through your notes and all that. Did I answer it? Like you don't even really know if you answered that or not, but you're looking through your notes as though you're trying to
Mm.
to recall, is that how you answered that question, right? But
Mm.
the reality is your paper's in there with the teacher. You out in the hall looking at your notes. So what good is
Mhm.
that stress? There's no purpose in the stress because the
None.
paper's in there with the teacher and the grade is going to be whatever the grade is going to be. So the only real question is, you know, did I did I study like I know I needed to study to pass the
Mhm.
test?
Mhm.
If the answer to that question is yes, then I did my best. So whatever the grade is the best I could do, right? If you ask
Right.
yourself that question and the answer was no, right? You're being honest with yourself. So it's
Right.
just
Right.
you and you having this conversation. If the
Right.
answer to that question is no, I did not study adequately, then the answer is you get whatever you deserve. right? You ain't nobody blame but yourself, because you know,
Right.
instead of going to the party, you should have been in there studying. Instead of hanging out with your friends, you should have been in there studying. Instead of being on the
Right.
phone with your boo, you should have been in there studying. You know what you should have been doing, right? So you have no
Right.
one to blame but you. So next
Right.
time you're gonna do better. If you want a different result, then you know what you need to change to do better.
To do
But
better.
if you
Yeah.
did all that you could have done, you study to the best of your ability, then that's the best you could have done. If it's a C, if it's a B, if it's an A, if it's an F, that's the best you could have done.
Mm. Yeah.
So no need to
Yeah.
stress, right?
Right.
And so when my dad gave me that pep talk, that's the last time I was out in the hall looking through notes, right? Because either you did your best or
Or
you
you
got what you
didn't.
deserve.
Yeah.
Either one is, that's the
Either
only
way.
answer. Either you
Either
did
way.
your
Yeah.
best or you got what you deserve. Those are the only two options. So either way, looking
Mm-hmm.
through the notes ain't doing you any good. So just take the test, go on about your day,
Going
and
about your
wait for
day.
the
Yeah.
results. And wait for the results, right?
It's real simple. It's real
It's just
simple.
that simple. It's just that
It's
simple.
real
Look at the
simple.
notes.
We make it more
When you
difficult
walk
than it
out the
needs to
room,
be. It's real
keep on
simple.
walking. Go on about your
Yeah.
day and wait on the results of
Going
the
about your
test.
day. Because
Right?
whatever you prepare for, that's what you're gonna get. Good
Exactly.
or bad. Whatever
Good
you
or
prepare
bad.
for, that's what you.
You know,
If you did not prepare, then you should prepare
you
yourself
sit
for a
and pray.
failing.
Pray for the best.
But if you did prepare, then
Right.
prepare yourself to receive your
Right.
your grade, good or bad.
Exactly.
If you did your very
Good or bad.
best,
But if it
good or
was your
bad,
best,
you got a C,
just take
B,
it as just
whatever.
in your stuff. You know,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
if you did your best, and that's all you could have done. You couldn't, if you'd have studied an hour longer, it wouldn't have done any good because you did your best.
yeah. You did your best. I love it. I love it. I love it. Listen, Miss Pamela, it has been an absolute joy having you on the podcast today, and we're gonna have to get you back. We're gonna have to get you
I'd
back. We're
love
gonna
to.
have to work on that. Absolutely, because it's so much more that we didn't get to, like. Oh, I'm gonna do it again. It's so much more we didn't get to unpack tonight. We didn't even get to touch. We got a whole nother book we didn't get to touch, right? And then you talked about you working on two more. So look, we definitely gonna have to work our schedules, or the British say your schedules. We have to work our schedules together and
Yes.
see when we can get you to come back on, because definitely you've been a blessing to us on tonight. And those that will watch the replay, they definitely will be blessed as well. We love you. We appreciate you. So thank you so much again for being a guest. And to our listeners, our viewers, we appreciate you. This LaQuita's Toolbox Live would not be possible without your continued support, through your viewership, through your likes, your shares, your subscriptions, and your monetary contributions. Thank you again so much for being a blessing to all of the LaQuita Toolbox Live supporters. And if you're new to the channel, you're new to the podcast, go ahead and hit that like button on your favorite podcast listening platform. Hit that follow. If you're following us tonight on YouTube, hit that subscribe, ring that notification bell so that you do not miss episodes when we release them on Thursday evenings at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. You guys, it is regretfully time for me to wrap this up. But we will be back next week with another great guest. We're doing an end of the year wrap up masterclass, so you don't want to miss that. Get your something to write with and something to write on. Have it ready for Thursday, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. We'll be right here with another great guest that will be sharing gems, sharing tools that are easily implementable in your life that you can use to grow both personally and professionally. Until next time, I'm your host, LaQuita Monley. You guys be blessed and have an amazing rest of your day. Take care.